So good, so good, so good.
Perfect gifts? We've got them at Nordstrom Rack stores now. UGG, Nike, Barefoot Dreams, Kate Spade New York, and more. Find everything on their wish list all in one place.
Steve Madden? Yes, please.
It's perfect.
Did we just score?
The greatest gifts of all time? Yeah.
Head to your Nordstrom Rack store to score. Great brands, great prices, the greatest gifts of all time.
Sharing all the joy that the holiday season brings has never been easier. With Celebrations Passport from 1-800-Flowers.com, my one-stop shopping site for even those hard-to-gift people. With Celebrations Passport, I get free shipping on thousands of amazing holiday gifts, like festive flowers and arrangements, and fresh fruit and gourmet gift baskets from Harry and David. Make the holidays merrier by gifting smarter at 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
Hello, you are listening to Just Films and That. This is the podcast where we talk about those films we think deserve a little bit more love. Whether they're underrated or underseen, we're going to talk about them. So let's see what it's going to be this week. Hello, yes, welcome back to another episode of Just Films and That. This week we're going to be talking about Pause, Jamie. Jingle All the Way from 1996 even. So before we get started, before we get stuck in, if you could head on over to whatever app or website, whatever you're listening to this on, and if it's possible, give us a little 5-star rating and review, then it allows other people to see the pod. And you know what? As I said last week, it's a little pre-Christmas gift for us. We really, really appreciate it. Also, if you'd like to check us out on Patreon, then we are on there where you can get ad-free extended episodes with early access to them from £1 a month. The link, should I say, is in the episode description.
So, Josh, Jingle All the Way. Why have we chose this one?
Oh, Jamie. Jamie, why did I pick this one? Well,
why, Josh?
Because I wanted to see Arnold Schwarzenegger shout Jamie at you for an hour and a half and see if you cracked like some sort of water torture with your own name. No, so why did I pick it? So what's it about? So Arnold Schwarzenegger, he plays an all-American man called Howard. He's working really hard. He works in something to do with mattresses. Don't know, it's not that clear in the film. And it's coming up to Christmas, and he's promised his son he'll get him the hot toy of that season, which is a doll, an action figure that sort of is like an Iron Man thing called Turbo Man. And lo and behold, it's so hot that he can't get hold of it because it's Christmas Eve, and he's left it too bloody late, Jamie. So he has a bloody time, doesn't he, going around trying to get this toy, and all manner of laughs and jokes ensue. Why did I pick it? So I've got a lot of affection for this film, so I will praise you what we say with that. It is one of those films that perhaps nostalgia will do the heavy lifting. However, I do think this is underrated based on the scores. It might not be the best film or even the best Christmas film ever made. I think it's perfectly decent. I've got a lot of nostalgia for it, but I think that you hate this.
All right, I'm going to shock you.
Go on.
This was not as bad as I remember it being.
Yes!
No, don't get me wrong. My dislikes, there's going to be some dislikes. But
yeah. Is it mainly that he shouts Jamie too much?
I think I was able to enjoy this last night more than I thought I would. I was ready to hate it, but I mean, we're not going straight into it yet. But oh my God, Phil Hartman. Jesus, what an actor.
What a class act. What a brilliant comedy actor.
The first 5 minutes of this set up like such a great concept of a guy trying to cuckold Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Every single husband in the area, seemingly.
That's what's good. Like, there's some great jokes where he's clearly shagging every month.
Well, it's one of those. It is one of those films with there are jokes for the adults in this that verge on. Is that okay? Like, and that is one of them where it's like. Ted, Phil Hartman's character, is clearly banging at least a few of the mums.
And doesn't he say, like, I'll let myself into your back door or something?
Yeah, it's all stuff like that, isn't it? I've got the tool for the job. That's one bit that he says. So I'm guessing from what you said there, that you had seen it before.
Yeah, I watched this as I think when it first came out. So is this 96?
96, yeah.
So I assume by the time it went to VHS, I would have been 11. So I think when I was younger, I think the problem was just that last 15 minutes. It's far too fantastical. And I was like, this is stupid because I was just getting into Arnie. I was just getting into Predator and the Terminator. And I was like, no, I don't like this version of Arnie. Watching it back, though, I love this version of Arnie. He is insane.
This is his. I'm gonna diversify era of kindergarten cop and twins and all the other things he did. And this was his. I'm going to do a family Christmas film, aren't I? I'm going to do a family Christmas film, and this is it.
But what's insane? There's a moment in this where I saw he's fighting all the Santas, and he hits them all with a candy cane, and he just lets out like this joyful
Yeah.
And I think there's a hidden message in this about a guy who's obviously looks after his body, and he's been domesticated, and he's allowing himself to enjoy violence on this special day, and he's using the excuse that he has to get his child's toy, but he's really enjoying beating people up the whole film.
It's one of those Arnie films where they seem to be saying that he's the all-American guy, but they acknowledge that he's obviously in amazing shape, to the point where, like you say, Phil Hartman's character's like, you can't bench press your way out of this one. And it's like, right, so he sort of neglected his wife and kid. Is he in the gym or working? Are those the two things he's doing?
That's the thing, is this Arnie has these weird 90s films where that character would not do what he does to have that body.
No.
He and especially when he's a neglectful dad, it's because he's waking up at 4 a.m. to go work out in the gym. He's pretty much doing the Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. Eating all the eggs in the house.
But did you notice they counter that by he's got one of them hand things that when he's on the phone at the start,
that's all
he's
he
doing
uses, mate.
a hand exercise, and it's so that goes down the forearm, up the chest,
through the whole body. But that is one of the things I think that is the appeal of particularly Arnie. Pretty much, I'd say, on his own in terms of leading the pack. He's always going to get compared to the others. I think we talked about Stallone when we did Daylight. Stallone's thing is yes, he's a muscle man, and yes, he's a leading action star and stuff like that, but he's a bit more intellectual. Whereas Arnie he is what he is, and that's what you're getting, and you know what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they say he's a salesman and he's always working, my eyes nearly fell out my face from rolling. And they show you what a good businessman he is, because he just rolls over on every phone call and is like, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. Because you're our number one. The joke is that he eventually says you are my number one customer to his wife. Yeah. But as a businessman, he is not pushing back on any of these demands. People I want to send this back. And he's like, yeah, okay. No, mate, you think about your profits.
I think a mattress salesman.
Yeah.
So there's a bit, isn't there, where someone's obviously complaining about the quality of the mattress. So to alleviate their worries, he sort of goes, well, we'll just recover it for you if you don't like the colour. It's like, no, you bought them. Should have checked the colour, shouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. No wonder he's working all the time. He's a bad businessman.
Yeah, he's shite. He's always in the gym. Everyone's like, I can't get these orders through. Where is he?
He's down in the warehouse lifting stuff up.
So, doesn't even work there. Doesn't work. He's just infiltrated a mattress company. Right. So you had seen this one before. So let's get stuck into it then. So to remind you guys at home, we're going to talk about the likes, then we'll move on to the dislikes. We'll come back to the critical reception and see if it is indeed underrated, as I've said it is. So go on then. I'm really glad to hear, because I was sort of dreading going into this, because I did think you would hate it, because I know you like your Arnie films and stuff like that, and there is that thing of this isn't Predator or Commando or whatever, so is it going to be to your taste? But you definitely seem to have found some stuff you like, so let's hear them.
Yeah, I think Arnie's got some fantastic line readings in this, and actually a new line that I haven't watched this in about 10 years probably, because I did think it was terrible. When Sinbad gets the ball, I do like some of the play against the two of them. When Sinbad gets that ball, now they're trying to get the little
he's got
ball.
two.
He got two. Line just really makes you laugh how petty it is,
and how the guy goes, "Get the mailman." I think it's such a quotable film.
I mean, Put That Cookie Down is incredible. That cookie down.
The one that always makes me laugh, and it never really is quoted, is when Sinbad's running away and he pushes a box out the way, just goes, out of my way, box.
Yeah.
It just makes me laugh so much.
I've got that in my notes.
It is one of those films that I have quoted with friends, and then it's enhanced how much I love it. So it's quite hard to get that across to people who perhaps don't like it. I can imagine showing this a kid now and then going, well, first of all, why haven't you got the toy? Get it on Amazon. And second of all, what the fuck's this? Do you know what I mean? I can imagine them doing that.
And people this generation don't remember. This is based on the Toy Story incident, isn't it?
The Buzz Lightyear thing.
There were not enough Buzz Lightyears, and parents went manic because all the kids wanted a Buzz Lightyear. And it's based on a real event. So back in 96, parents watching this would have gone, yeah, I had to go through this, and
Yeah.
there's a very real thing of your kid gets really disappointed. Like I remember being disappointed when I didn't have a Mega Drive one morning when I came downstairs. So it was 2 years ago. But you do have that disappointment of my parents don't love me enough to get me the one thing that I asked for, and obviously then you realize, life carries on. You're probably not the favorite child, all those things.
Jimmy, are you all right?
I just hearing a dad constantly shout Jamie and do whatever he can for him. I was like, Josh has done this on purpose to ruin my Christmas.
Just therapy for you. This is just like hypnotherapy.
Well, not Jamie. It's Jamie with a CH. So Jamie.
My parents had almost the exact plot of this film with me. So around the time this came out, it was nothing like the Buzz Lightyear one, but I really wanted. Do you remember the Action Man attack dog? He had a dog. Probably
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the guy, was he blue or green? He had
he had a dog that was like a police dog type thing, and I really wanted it. My parents looked everywhere for it and couldn't find it. But then, so I had that thing of, I don't know if you ever had it, where you go to different nans and houses and stuff on Christmas Day just for a brew or just to see them or whatever. So you open your presents in the morning, you might go to a nan's house down the road or whatever. And I open my presents, no Action Man attack dog. All right, okay, well maybe it's at Grandma's. And my mum's like, we've spent all day being like, oh, fucking hell, it's not going to be anywhere. He's expecting it. And then I went to see my dad because my parents are separated. And I was like, well, maybe it'll be my dad's then. Not there. And then my birthday's Boxing Day. So then I spent the next day going,
I'll get it for my birthday.
Yeah, maybe I'll get it for my birthday. And I never got it. And then my mum at the time was pregnant with my sister, who was born 2 months later. So when my sister was born, somehow as a baby, she bought me, inverted commas, Action Man attack dog.
Oh, that's nice to stop the jealous. Like,
yeah. And it wasn't that good.
I thought you were going to say she gave birth and it was the Action Man attack dog.
Yeah. Really weird thing happened. But no, you're right. There are some good lines. It is really, really fun. Like, I think this is really funny. Like I said, I have quoted it a lot with friends, but I do think there's some good slapstick in this. Really good supporting cast like Sinbad and Phil Hartman, like we've already touched on. Martin Mull's in it for a minute, who obviously passed away this year, as well as the radio DJ. Few other people are in it as well. Rita Wilson's good in it. And yeah, there's lots of great stuff in it. I mean, it's a good idea. It's pretty much a farce, but with toys, isn't it? It's pretty much a Christmas farce where he's just trying to do one thing. It's the whole thing. The vicar's coming round for tea. Everything's got to be perfect. So what happens? It all goes wrong.
I'll give it this. It's a very simple premise. Like, from it is, Dad's cocked up. He didn't buy the one toy that he's meant to, and it's now Christmas Eve. He has to go find it. In many ways, it's a modern version of the Odyssey, Do you
think many people have said that? Jingle All the Way. Yeah. A modern version of Homer's The Odyssey is what I describe it as. No, it is. I think it's fairly harmless. It's fairly daft fun. But anyway, back to your likes then. If you want to talk about Phil Hartman, talk about Phil Hartman. Or what else did you like?
Just to touch again on it, Arnie's character is insane in this. And the bit where I fully went in is when he decides to go steal another child's toy, changes his mind, and then punches out a reindeer. Yep. The reindeer punches where I go, I'm all in on this film. They've not gone soft on it.
Then he seems to give it beer.
Yeah, and he's like, it's like he makes it up with the reindeer's like, well, you started it.
Also, the film's set on Christmas Eve. He absolutely ruins one policeman's day to the point where, yeah, it's funny. He's got burnt hands and a burnt face. Christmas is ruined, though, isn't it?
Well, I was wondering this at the start. What is the film's stance on the police? Like, are they bumbling? Are they stupid? Should we respect them? It seems to take joy in like blowing up, and he's an older policeman as well.
Yeah, he's a bit of a silver fox. I'm not sure. It's an interesting one, that, isn't it? Because they aren't shown to be incompetent apart from perhaps one bit, but it is still that thing of the snooty Duchess, slipping on the ice, or the sort of the bringing someone down to earth sort of thing, the anti-authority thing, which obviously is a common comedy thing. But even then, the guy who is the police officer we're talking about is made to look like an idiot because he thinks he knows what a bomb is, and he doesn't. So I don't think it's got a stance on the police. It's just that they are authoritarian, I guess.
I think this is a heavily ACAB movie. No, I mean, it's because he pulls Arnie over for driving down the hard shoulder. Like, he's doing his job at the start, and then Arnie's like getting arsey with him.
And then he reverses into something, so he should stop and get out, jet the car. So he's not wrong there. Then he spills coffee on. How does he get burnt hands?
No, because the bomb goes off first.
Is that what it is? Because of the bomb?
It's the very Looney Tunes, a bomb, and so it's in, I don't know, I mean, this is going to be in dislikes, but it's in a world where people do send bombs in the mail, like malicious bombs. But it's also in a world where if a bomb goes off in your hands, you have a Looney Tunes like blackened face.
Yeah.
That would have been, if that had cut back to like just he's screaming with like something sticking in his
blood everywhere.
kidney. And all the like one guys, they do that thing where the volume drops out like they do in war movies.
And a bit of tinnitus comes in, and then you start hearing the breath.
He's trying to find his arm on the floor, like Saving Private Ryan, and then just cut back to Sinbad and Arnie having fun.
No, it is. It's a rare thing, isn't it? It's a kids' film with jokes for the adults that rather than. Most of the time when they do that, it's like a little bit of a, you know what we're talking about, eh? At home, you know. And then in this, they're like, maybe the kids might get this, so be careful. But then someone went, don't be careful, just say it. There's a bit where Sinbad actually says, a woman who was sleeping with everyone at the post office except me. And you're like, oh, right, no, shit. And that you say Phil Hartman is definitely cooking a load of husbands.
So this, I mean, this is in the dislikes for me, but tonally, what is this film? Because at one point, Sidnan says Rodney King when he's being attacked. And I was like, you've got a film where Arnold Schwarzenegger gets on a jetpack and flies around in the sky. And at the same time, the Rodney King attacks happened in this universe.
I don't mind it. I think it works. Do you not like that?
No, because I think tonally it's all over the place. And I think, well, I mean, I'll save it for dislikes. Let's try and do as positive as possible. Have you got anything else that you like?
Yeah, so I mean, I do think it's fun. I think it's really funny. I think, like you said, it's quite basic, but it's very easy watching. It follows a really good Christmas film structure, even things down to short scenes broken up by Christmas music. Lots of good Christmas songs in this that are used in plenty of films, particularly from the period. It's easy watching. It's pretty heartwarming towards the end. There is a message in there, I suppose, about not working so hard, and because it was one of those films it's one of these films that's very of its time in terms of they're always like to the husband, you're always working. Why are you always working? And like I'm always sort of the mind to be like, because we've got a nice house, and because we've got lots of nice stuff. But it never says, for example, like his wife in it is always moaning at him. And I'd always thought it said she didn't, I don't know why, that she didn't work, but it never says that. It never says she doesn't work. So I actually watched it again thinking, oh, maybe she does, because the only time she mentions it is he says he's got to go into the office, and she's like, well, why are you going to the office? It's Christmas Eve. And I was watching it with my other half, and we were like, well, she obviously split up for work then, hasn't she? She obviously finished work for Christmas or whatever.
You don't know, but I think Rita Wilson does quite well to not become the nagging wife stereotype.
She does. She's very, very likable, and she has that thing of she's the foil to Phil Hartman. So he's trying to get into it, and her little subplot is, oh, this guy needs to leave me alone, sort of thing. And I think she really excels in those scenes. Like, she is very, very likable and very, very funny. And then just to finish as well, I do think I'd never noticed it before, there are some pretty good callbacks in terms of the sow some exposition seeds at the start with the Turbo Man TV show. And then at the end, they refer to them all again. And I thought that was pretty good. And also, it's quite interesting to watch a film where I'd never thought of it before, but Turbo Man is basically just Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's touching like copyright infringement. But then he's got Captain America on his wall as well. So the MCU stuff does exist, or MC
in this world,
Marvel exists. But he's like, I want the knockoff one. Another thing that did make me laugh, actually, which is like an adult joke, is that thing of like, kids never want the sidekick, and there's always loads of no one wants the Robin toy. Yeah, that did make me laugh. When even Sinbad punches him, said no one likes you, Booster, and then just randoms come and beat him up.
One of the things, this is in my dislikes, but I've never noticed before. Why does everyone who works in a shop in this absolutely revel in the fact that they can't find a toy?
Yeah, those people who are laughing at Arnie at the start with like, you came in for a turbo man, and you're like, this man could bench press your family in front of you. But the best one is
when the guy says that all the Turbo Man dolls have doubled in price, and his shop assistants are like laughing. It's like, you're not seeing a cut of that. Like, there's no way. You're not like.
Although having worked seasonally and Next, I did hate every single person that came in.
It's just any joy to get you through. That's true. You're dealing with frantic parents all day, so perhaps you're just like, yeah, fuck you. You should have got the toy sooner, you knob.
But I do think it touches quite well on like the dangers of Christmas becoming too consumerist. Like it is, the message is he's out there doing this all day when he should be, it's Christmas Eve. He should be at home putting the star on the tree and putting up. I mean, he hasn't put his decorations up by Christmas Eve. That's a red flag.
Yep.
And then he's angry at Phil Hartman for doing it for him. But it is saying like that he needs to get home to go to the parade with his son, and his son isn't. His son wants this toy because he loves Turbo Man, but his son isn't really that. He's not buying into the consumerism. It's the joy. It's the spending time with your family stuff.
One thing before we move to the dislikes, would you be absolutely livid at the end when he gave the toy to Sinbad who was going to prison?
Yeah. If I was Arnie, I'd take it back.
Okay, so let's move on to talking about the dislikes then. We'll talk about things that we perhaps didn't like about the film or that we would perhaps change about the film. I don't really have much for this because I do have a lot of affection for it. I've got one or two things, but I get the impression you've got a few, Jamie. So let's get stuck in then. I'll see if I can defend Jingle All the Way.
Let me just load up the 2 pages I've got. Right, so you like Sinbad in this? I think he's too much.
I think he's I think he's all right. Yeah, I think he's pretty funny in it. He is a lot, but then there is a lot of overacting in this in general, and I just sort of think I expect that from a film of this nature. Do you know what I mean? I sort of expect it from this, but I can also equally see how you think he was annoying.
And yeah, he screams every line, which does annoy me. It's like Arnie's not deaf in this. He's a psycho. Like he's actually psychotic. He does have some funny lines, but I think even a broken clock is right twice a day. If there are moments in this where they kind of land as duds, and I think some of the humor, like a lot of the jokes in the Santa's Grotto thing, fall flat. There's the pulling the James Belushi's beard back, which makes him do like a comical flip.
That sort of thing. And then the Big Show's in it from WWE.
Yeah, it is the Big Show. But Arnie punches him in the face. So it's like we're allowing punches in this, but then there's like weird comical, like
even though we've all worn a daft beard like that messing around, it wouldn't hurt that much. No, certainly wouldn't knock you out like it knocks that guy out. I suppose back to the Sinbad point. I like to think that as I'm watching this, that he doesn't have kids. It's he's just a man who's having some sort of psychotic break.
So from Sinbad's perspective, this is falling down, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's exactly that. And I quite like the fact that you can watch it through the prism of he doesn't have kids. He's just absolutely lost it.
I was waiting for the bit where he's like, she won't actually let me see them, and I'm going to send this to the address I think they're still at.
And that's sort of what you can imagine that happening at the end when Jamie gives him the toy and he's like, "Oh, thank you very much," sort of thing. Where like there is a joke there about, like you say, or a sort of twist of something. You could go really dark with it, but you could, like you say, go the wife's left him or something like that.
This is the post-credit scene where he visits a grave.
Yeah, you could go Shutter Island with it, and really,
I'm not really Turbo Man. I mean, because of the crimes that he's committed, because he's committed domestic terrorism.
Made a bomb, used a bomb.
He's assaulted cops. He's put guns at cops. He's chased a child.
He beats up Dementus or whatever. He beats up the actor whose costume he takes.
So there's assault there. He's chased a child up and I wondered, like, oh, surely he's shown moments where he's a good guy. When Jamie is hanging from like the
takes
ceiling,
it out of his back.
Yeah, he doesn't like, oh, this has got serious now, you're in peril. I swear I remembered, like, oh, he helps him back up, but no, he just steals the toy.
Yep, just absolutely insane.
Yeah, and I think it's too much. That character should have been, I know it's a slapstick film, but that character should have had some more layers of like decency.
Is that reflective of his popularity at the time, do you think?
Was Sinbad ever that popular?
I don't know, but like, is it just one of those things where they've sort of seen him as the next Eddie Murphy or Robin Williams and said, go in and do your thing?
It's quite clear that he's been allowed to improv on this, and I think that it's kind of unfair on comedy actors when you just do your thing, because then they get the blame for the shortcomings of the script, whereas if he'd been allowed to sit down with people and maybe instead of just show up and scream, and that'll be funny.
Scream at everyone. Don't say any lines.
But in his defense,
choke a woman for no reason.
The bit where he says "Get out of my way, box" that was funny.
Absolutely class. Makes me laugh every. I watch this most years. Makes me laugh every year. What else?
Like I was saying, tone is. I think this is kind of confusing in what it wants to say about Howard, because at the start they're at the karate show, the classic Christmas karate show that we all used to go to.
Yeah, imagine being a parent and going, I've got a karate belt presentation where I'm going to get my belt. When is it? 23rd of December. Is it? Right.
Cool.
You're not going.
yeah. We're going to your nan's.
Yeah.
This might be the last one. Okay. Yeah. Oh, she loves karate, nan. So someone says, oh, Howard's probably stuck working really hard. And then jump cut to a bottle of champagne being opened, and you're like, oh, okay, so he's actually enjoying the lifestyle of partying at a Christmas party. But then it cuts to Howard's office, and he is actually working hard. And I was like, well, why? What message are you trying to say there then? What's the point of that jump cut?
Is it not he's working whilst everyone's having fun? Is it not the Scrooge thing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the joke they were making is, when you do a jump cut of
yes,
this,
I see
this to that,
it's a misleading joke.
Yeah, so I was like, well, what is the point of that? And my main point on this is Howard a bad guy? He's a bad husband and a bad dad, isn't he?
But he does acknowledge that, doesn't he? He does sort of say, is the whole point not, again, the Scrooge thing of learning to let go of working and enjoy the magic of Christmas? So he says the whole thing, doesn't he? If I can't get him the toy, am I a bad dad? Maybe not, but yelling at him for no good reason. And then he sort of says, like, that's unacceptable, isn't it? And so I know what you mean, and I know what you mean tonally all over the place, but I don't really mind it.
Yeah, but I did you see the post-credit scene?
I have seen it.
So you know this as a post-credit scene where it's them. He's putting the star up on the tree, and Rita Wilson says, "Wow, if you went to those lengths to get our son a present, what did you get me?"
Yeah, what did you get me?
And then he's like, "Oh shit!" So he hasn't got his wife in.
No. He's gonna let Ted bang her.
he's got a new mattress, 40% off.
No, I mean, no, you are right. It is. I mean, he is useless.
Yeah, and you kind of when she sees him trying to steal a toy from next door, and she storms off and says, "Well, no, I'm going with Ted." You're like, "Yeah, good on you."
Yeah.
You kind of don't care if he gets them back or not.
It wouldn't do any harm, would it, if you see that he has got her stuff and him stuff? It's just that the Turbo Man is the one thing he's not got.
Yeah.
If you did that, it would sort of be a bit more redeeming. If it was like, even if, I don't know, when he comes in from work and he's missed the karate thing, he's got bags of presents or something.
Yeah, it's not an awful thing. Only 2 more things.
Only 2 more. Come on,
only 2 more. Right. I know it's a kids' film, but it's set in reality at some point, and at some point, a toy parade has invented the technology for you to fly in a jet. It was too much as a kid. That was, and I think children who were like kind of starting to understand reality between 9 and 12, that ending this is why I don't like this movie, is specifically because that jetpack should be in like military hands, and they've given it to. There is quite a funny bit where they set him up, and he goes, "Oh, the guy who did play it, he's showing brain function,"
yeah,
which I thought was quite funny. But it's too surreal and like.
I don't know what the parades were like in your town, Jamie. But we always had a guy with an Iron Man costume on flying around.
So in Bootle, we just had shopping trolleys where condoms were blown up and someone would draw a smiley face, and you have to guess who it was. And then the only other issue, Hollywood needs to stop making parents feel bad for not going to their kids' shitty events like this. Like my dad never came to any of my events, and I'm just a 38-year-old stand-up comedian. I'm fine.
Yeah,
but
is therapy okay?
I can't afford it anymore. So I've just been screaming my problems out the window. But they do, like, this and Hook do that thing where it's like, oh, the hardworking dad didn't go to the kids' event.
Yeah, so that's in mine, which is it punishes him for working hard. And I appreciate what he's trying to do is strike the balance between he's working too hard and he's not actually enjoying the reason he's working hard, sort of thing. But there are plenty of films of this ilk which just make it look like, well, there's no point working hard because if you work hard, no one will appreciate it, sort of thing. And I think it's a difficult thing to get right. You know, I think trying to think of other Christmas examples. So, like, one that does get it right would be something like Christmas Vacation. Like, they do a really good thing of it. They make a big deal of how hard he's worked that year and how he's going to get that pool, and then he doesn't. And the whole thing is he sort of goes a bit insane because he's trying to have the perfect family Christmas. So I think that does it really well. But no, I completely agree with you. It's definitely one of those films where whether his wife in this is working or not, they've got a big, nice house and a nice area, and Jamie's clearly not wanted for anything, and he's quite spoiled as in a way. And then it's like, well, why are you working so hard? And it's like, well, how do you think we can have all these things?
Yeah, I don't think it's the performance of Jamie. I think Jake Lloyd actually does quite well in this, but
yeah, he's great.
I think that character is written kind of needy, like, you know, oh, I need daddy. Like, shut up, mate. You got your mum there.
Yeah, and he's also he's sort of too aware of stuff for the age he is.
Yeah. I mean, that's a weird bit where the kid's like, I'm happy now, my parents are divorced. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, there's almost a series of like, is he going to try and split his parents up? But then there's a whole thing of, like, at the start where he's like, you missed this colour of belt and you missed this colour of belt. And it's like, yeah, but I was working.
Yeah, you're lucky I'm not
karate lessons.
You're lucky I'm not fucking hitting you with these belts. Yeah.
So no, I know what you mean. It is a little, and that's not necessarily just this film. I think it's quite the quirk of the era. Really, it's a big thing of like. There are other examples, even things like, I don't know, like a liar or something. The message is, well, don't work too hard.
Yeah, I think that's where Mrs. Doubtfire is so good, because not only does that handle like a divorce really responsible, but also it Sally Field isn't punished for being. She actually mentions I'm being punished for being the hardworking parent, and not, you know, it's not like, oh God, lighten up, you square. It's like, no, be responsible. It's the lighthearted one needs to be mature. You
get both sides. You get that thing of her being like, I'm always like, they have that argument though, and then she says, I always have to be the heavy, I always have to be the bad guy, and he's like, lighten up, and she's like, doesn't he say something to her like, you spend too much time working? And she goes, no, I spend too much time with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mrs. Doubtfire is up there with perfect family film, if it's not the perfect family film. So, oh, what a film. But anyway, anything else on the dislikes?
So, I mean, I really did want to annoy you with just like tearing it apart.
No, if you got anything else, is it that after this straight away you watch Jingle All the Way 2 from 2014, which is shockingly far apart from 1996?
Is that? I feel like
I think it's Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh Christ! No, kid's favourite, Larry the Cable Guy. No, I was going to say it's a Dolph Lundgren, but he's Kindergarten Cop 2.
He's Kindergarten Cop 2 or something, isn't he? Yeah.
I'm never watching Jingle All the Way 2. I don't think we need to see that. Please,
so
never
next
bring
week
that
for
up.
the Christmas special, we're going to be. Okay, so let's move on to talking about the critical reception then. So just to remind everyone at home, I didn't pick it because I think it's underseen. I did pick it because I think it's underrated. Box office wise, it did okay, but I think in terms of the nearly 30 years since it came out, I think plenty of people have seen this, so I don't think it's underseen. Ratings wise though, so we'll get into them now. Just to remind you, we're going to do the IMDb, the Rotten Tomatoes audience, and the Rotten Tomatoes critics. So, I mean, I think these are shockingly low, but how do you think it did, Jamie? What would you give it?
Okay, so your reaction there. I thought people tend to be a bit more lenient about Christmas films. So I thought maybe it did like in the 5s probably. And me, it used to be I would have given this a 2, but I did get some laughs out of this. Like I think I would go back to this for maybe a supercut of just those great moments.
Just the Out My Way box. And,
it's really funny, the Out My Way box. And also the Phil Hartman stuff is great. I think there's a great film underneath this. I genuinely would like to see a remake. So I'll go with I think it should be on a 5.
Okay. At the time of recording over on IMDb, it gets 5.7 out of 10. Not too bad. However, we go over to Rotten Tomatoes. The audience give it 41%. And the reason I've picked it is because the critics on Rotten Tomatoes give it 20%.
Yes, critics, my guys.
So if you average that out, that's 39% or just under 4 out of 10. So for me, I think that, listen, it's not perfect, but I think it's perfectly watchable, perfectly funny. There's plenty of good stuff in there. I think that is quite underrated. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean that equates to being a 2-star film, which it's a little bit better than that, because it is worth watching for those fun moments. And if you put a 6-year-old down in front of this, they're going to enjoy the bright lights and the Rodney King references. So yeah. It's hard to me to say this.
Holding and the
you got. I hate to say this, but yes, Jingle All the Way is underrated. Jeff.
Yes, Merry Christmas to me. Oh, well, there we go. Then Jingle All the Way is underrated. I did not think this was going to play out like this, so I absolutely made up. That is a genuine little Christmas treat for me. We'll be back next week with a Christmas episode, so keep your eyes on our social media to find out what that's going to be and how that's going to play out. We'll be back next week, so in the meantime, if you'd like to get in touch with us, it's filmsandthatpod@gmail.com. We're on all the social medias. If you search for Just Films and That on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, we're on there. We're always putting stuff out, so do give us a follow. Drop us a message if you want to suggest a film you think we should cover in the new year. All that remains to be said then is we'll see you next week for our Christmas episode. It's goodbye from me. Cheerio.
Bye.
Bombas presents unsolicited gifting advice. Number 1, if they say not to get them anything, get them something. 2, underwear is a great gift, just not for your boss. And 3, those absurdly soft Bombas socks and slippers you've been eyeing for yourself, they'll love those. And the fact that for every item you purchase, another is donated to someone who needs it, they'll love that even more.
Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST, code ACAST.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.